Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from in the world today. Welcome to Live with Leila. My name is Leila Singh, and I'm an executive career and personal brand coach and mentor. And I work with career professionals, typically in the technology industry. I coach aspiring executives, typically to overcome their limitations so that they can uncover their real potential and create new opportunities and possibilities. People who want to elevate their life and excel in their career and to create so much more by redefining their success in work, in health, in relationships, and in life, what I call life leadership, all whilst showing up as the best version of themselves. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you who is catching this live or joining me on the replay. So if you're watching me live today, then do please say hello in the comments. Let me know that you can hear me and let me know where you're watching from in the world today and how you've come across this live. If you've watched any of them previously, let me know what resonates in today's episode. And if you're watching on replay, also do please hashtag replay in the comments. And again, let me know where you're watching from in the world. Ask any questions about today's topic and let me know what resonates with you. So I'm going to dive straight into the topic of today, which is being good at what you do enough? And what I mean by this is being good at what you do, being good at the technical skills, the knowledge, the experience, the training that you've had. Is this enough to get you to where you want to be in your work, in your career? And I think about more technical roles, particularly, but just generally about certain roles need certain types of experience, maybe some sort of training, qualifications, etc., etc. And oftentimes it's easy to believe that actually, if we keep our head down and we work really hard and we're good at what we do, then actually we should get recognized for that. We should get the promotions, the financial recognition, the rewards that come with that, and be able to advance our career. And here's the thing with that, particularly if, by the way, I'd like to add to this, if it's a non-client facing role, that often it's okay, well, if you're in front of the client, then you're kind of being measured all the time, and it's about whether you can close that deal or bring in new business and develop more relationships. So there's an element of natural measure there. But when you are not externally client facing, it's quite easy to hide behind the fact that, well, I do an internal role. It's maybe a support function in the business. I don't have to speak with clients or lenders or funders or investors, and therefore it's not important for me to get out there and to be known. And here's the crux of it. There's a great quote from Zig Ziglar, who, and I'm going to paraphrase this, but what he says is, if the work that you do involves, or sorry, the business that you're in involves speaking to other people or dealing with people, then you, my friend, are in sales. And what I mean by that, why the reason I share that is because it's important still to recognize that no matter how good you are at what you do, your technical understanding, your vast experience, the wealth of knowledge that you bring to the table, that may not be enough to get you to where you want to be. If you're looking to advance your career, to get those promotions, to take on more responsibility, to perhaps be given the big projects, then there is so much more than just being good at what you do. And we may feel sometimes that by being good at what we do and simply keeping our head down and working hard will get us where we want. Now, it's not to say everyone has to strive to move up the career ladder. Another great way of evolving your career is to take moves sideways and get broader experience, because you're still growing and learning all the time. There's no right or wrong as to what you should or shouldn't want. The point here is that if you're wanting to get recognition, if you're wanting to advance your career, then there's more that you're going to have to do. And what that more looks like is the softer skills. And here's the thing, if you don't embrace that and believe that you're going to keep your head down, work hard, have that satisfaction of knowing that you're good at what you do, that you're learning, you bring a load of value to the table, that's great. But here's the thing, if you're wanting to advance your career, you run the risk of creating a level of unfulfillment longer term versus that achievement that you're having right now. In other words, a sense of loss. And it's important, therefore, to recognize if you are struggling to get noticed, if maybe you're being overlooked and you're wondering why, is to understand that in addition to being great at what you do, to bringing the value to your role, to your team, to your organization, is that soft skills are really incredibly important. So in other words, we can go and get all the training, do the courses, get the technical expertise and keep broadening our experience. But if we don't develop our interpersonal skills, our soft skills, that has a big risk of holding us back from where we want to get to. And I just want to bring this to your attention, to your awareness, and open your eyes to actually what is possible when you do embrace this and when you do open your eyes to the fact that by honing and developing your interpersonal skills, in other words, understanding how to communicate more effectively, for example, understanding emotional intelligence, how to develop, build, cultivate, and nurture relationships, your own physiology and the physiology of others, how you show up, the non-verbal communication, and the good old mindset. So your internal psychology and also the mindset, the psychology of others. So there's a whole raft of things that you can also look to work on, to develop, to hone, to improve, and to master, which means that you'll get remembered for the right reasons. You'll be making a greater impact and memorable impression with other people. You'll stand out. You'll start to develop your own brand, your unique value proposition, and then you'll be top of mind for those that matter. What I mean by that is the decision makers, be that the hiring manager, the recruitment consultant, if you're looking to move externally. And so it's really important, and this is what I want to invite you to consider, that if this isn't something that maybe is one of your strengths or something you've perhaps not even considered before that may be holding you back, it really is something that you want to explore, particularly if it's an area that you struggle with, or that if you feel that because I'm not a client-facing role, it doesn't matter. I don't need to have all of those skills. And no, you don't. And that's okay, depending on what your aspirations are for your career. So even if you're in a, let's say, support function, a back office role, or a more technical role, which doesn't involve external client facing, you still have clients. Your clients are your internal colleagues, the people that you report to, the people you deliver information to, that maybe you present to, or that you hand information over to. They're people who come and ask for you to carry out a piece of work for them, or to ask you for information. Those are all your internal clients. And if you are looking to advance your career, if you want to get the recognition, if you're tired of being overlooked, then you really want to get present to your skill set outside of your technical skills and knowledge and the training that you've had and the experience that you've got, and look at where you're at in terms of your soft skills, your interpersonal skills, your emotional intelligence, your understanding of other people, your inner psychology, your own mindset. And this isn't about just saying, oh, I'm going to have a positive mindset today and off you go. That's not it. That's very surface level. I'm talking about the deeper work to really understand what may be perhaps holding you back, having you feel resistant to showing up in a bigger way, to stepping above the parapet, to making yourself known. And by the way, that doesn't mean that you have to become an extrovert. If you're an introvert, it still works. You can still be quietly confident. You can still have a voice. You can still share your ideas and your opinions and be heard as an introvert. This doesn't mean that you need to then become really loud and outspoken and the loudest person in the room. So what I'd like you to consider are the areas around emotional intelligence, your personal skills, effective communication. Now, this is communication at all levels. And what I mean by that is I'm not only referring to the people within an organization that you speak to at different levels. I'm also referring to communication that is one-to-one, that is maybe one to a few people in your team. Maybe it's a meeting with the wider organization. Perhaps it's presenting to whether it's internal or external people. There's all different dynamics to communication. So how is that for you? Where do you feel that you can improve upon that? Where are the gaps that you need to work on to close? Think about your relationships. How effective is is cultivating your network, your relationships, be that within the organization or with external parties, depending on the role that you hold? What are you doing to nurture those relationships that you already have and to cultivate new ones? Because people love to do business and love to work with people that they know, like, and trust. And the way to be able to know, like, and trust you is for you to be able to show up in a way that has you being able to build that circle of influence around you. Have people who are your advocates, your supporters, who will shout about you from the rooftops, who will promote you to other people in terms of talking about you in a really positive way. So relationships are really, really important. It also makes your working environment much more enjoyable to have good relationships with the people around you. So again, think about where there are gaps in perhaps what you're not satisfied in right now, where maybe you're not happy with where you are and what needs to change for you. And look at relationships. Is that something that you maybe need to focus on? To need to work on developing those skills to build relationships, to both cultivate new relationships and to nurture your existing ones. Think about your presence, the gravitas that you have, the non-verbal communication. So again, is this something that you're aware of, that you're present to? And if not, why not? Because people form impressions of you before you've even uttered a word. You may have heard me say this before, and therefore they'll observe you from the way that you carry yourself. So how do you carry yourself when you walk into your office, when you walk into a meeting? How you even show up online, whether it's on Zoom or on Teams? You know, how are you? What is your posture like? What is your eye contact like? What are your gestures like? Are they demonstrating confidence in yourself, in your expertise, in the knowledge that you have? Or are you showing up as someone who's lacking that confidence and has uncertainty in themselves and maybe lacking the self-esteem? Because if you are, then that's going to impact the way that people see you, the impression they form of you, and therefore whether they choose to have you top of mind when it comes to making those decisions about the bonuses, the salary increases, the promotions, maybe bigger responsibility. So if those are things that you're looking for, whether it is the responsibility, the projects, the promotions, the pay rise, you really want to think about what may be missing, and is being good at what you do enough to get you where you want to be. And yes, it might well be, and that's okay. But if it's not, and you find that you are struggling, you really want to slow down to check in with yourself and become present to where the gaps are. And a mindset is a big part of this. It's something I talk about often. And in my previous live, you may have heard me discuss. And if you haven't, go check it out. It's now on my podcast as well, so you can listen to it there. But there I talk about success being 80% psychology, 20% strategy. So mindset is a huge aspect of achieving success. And it's deep work. It's really understanding the inner, the self-talk, the language that we use, our lens of the world that we see things through around us, and really tuning into, are those things serving us, or are they actually hindering us and holding us back? But in addition to that, it's the bigger picture of you as a person, how you're showing up in the world. As I said, your presence, your nonverbal communication, the relationships that you're cultivating, that you're nurturing. The communication, is your communication effective? What can you do differently to improve upon that? Where are the gaps in all of these areas? Because if you're happy where you are, that's great. If you're feeling frustrated, stuck, overlooked, unheard, etc., then there's something you want to be doing differently. And here's the thing. Why am I talking about this? Because it was an early lesson that I had in my career, when I truly believed that if I kept my head down, I worked really hard, and I knew I was good at what I did. I had the knowledge, I had the skills, I had the technical training. Back then I was an accountant, and I did really well. But because I lacked all of the, well, first of all, the confidence and self-esteem, but also effective communication, being able to show up in the world and make myself known, then people didn't know who I was. They therefore overlooked me when it came to those big decisions, the promotions, the pay rises, and so forth. And so actually, for me, it was recognizing that there's more to this than just being good at what you do and working really hard. And it's something that I call personal brand, because before we talk about personal branding be your online presence, which is what the majority of people speak to right now, actually, for me, I believe your personal brand starts with you. It starts about how you are showing up in the world. Because here's the thing. Anyone can create a beautiful LinkedIn profile. You can pay people to do it for you. But ultimately, it's how you show up in the workplace, with your colleagues, with your team, with your managers, with leadership. Those are things that will determine the impression that people form of you. And therefore, those are things that need to be worked on, to be developed and to be honed. Because what you want to remember is that by being known, about standing out, having your unique value proposition and not trying to fit in and be like everybody else, making an impact enables you to be top of mind. It has you being remembered for the right reasons, and it creates compelling and impressive first impressions of people. And when that happens, it opens opportunities, doors of opportunities for you. It opens up new possibilities. It has people gravitating towards you, to want to work with you, to be in your space, around you, in your network, to learn from you, to see you as a leader. So if you are someone who is aspiring to elevate your career, to advance up the career ladder, to get more recognition, to be rewarded for the value that you bring, my invitation today is to remember this as being good enough at what you do. Being good at what you do enough to get you to where you want to be. Or are there gaps or things that perhaps you're overlooking around the way that you show up? Again, your personal branding. So what I deem to be important in personal branding are things like your mindset, your psychology, your presence, your nonverbal communication, effective communication, so verbal communication, and relationship building. All of those things are significant and very important factors to helping you to build a powerful brand, but also to be top of mind, to be remembered, to be recognized, and therefore to enable you to get to where you want to be. So let me know if you have any questions on this and what resonates with you from what I've shared today. And if you haven't already done so, speaking of personal branding, do please register for your free playbook on personal branding. The link will be in the comments shortly. And the playbook is something I put together on building a powerful personal brand, and it covers the 6 core facets of building your brand. It talks about that and then has you invites you to carry out your brand audit to identify where you're at in terms of your brand, where the gaps are, and also provides you with some best practices and takeaways that you can go and implement straight away to enable you to start to close those gaps and to build that personal brand out, to elevate yourself, to be remembered, to be known for the right reasons. So if you haven't already done so, then do click on the link that Sharon has kindly shared in the comments and grab your copy today. And before I go, something I'd like to remind you of, once you've done that, head over to YouTube, to my channel. Please do subscribe to the channel where you can see all the previous episodes of my lives on various topics around elevating, advancing your career, building a powerful personal brand. And around the topics that often show up when I'm working with my clients, whether it's around confidence, about our identity, about gaining clarity, and looking at things that stop you from advancing your career and living the life that you want. So do go ahead and check it out. You can also have access there to all of my podcast interviews with outstanding leaders from the technology industry who have all generously and openly shared their journeys, their challenges, their learnings, some great words of wisdom. So do subscribe and check out my YouTube channel too. As I say, if you have any questions, do please pop them in the comments. And until next time, I invite you to remember to elevate your performance and maximize your potential, and to create new possibilities by showing up as the best version of you. Have a great rest of the week. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you next time.